Check one. Check testing mic 1, 2, 3, 4. Sound check. Hey, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check. Perfect.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Eh, 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 eh.
Test 1 2 3 sound check check. Sound check 1 2 3 4 5. Test 1 2 3 4. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Test sound check. Test 1 2 3. Test. Test. Cameraman's friends, okay? Okay, thank you. Sound check test. Sound check test. 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Sound check. Sound. Okay.
Oyuncu Bey'le de konuşuyor.
Haydar Bey, siz görebiliyor musunuz beni? Yok. Şık durmaz zaten. Bayrak ya böyle duracak ya hiç olmayacak.
Ses test 1 2 3. Sound check. Sound check. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Test test. Sound check. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Sound check. Test 1 2 3. Test test. Sound check. Sound check. Okay? Abi 3 defa yaptırdım bak. Bir daha yaptırma. Gözünü seveyim yani.
Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. The floor is yours, His Excellency.
Good afternoon. This morning, we woke up to a new Syria. The regime has collapsed, and control in the country is changing hands. Of course, this didn't happen overnight. For the last 13 years, the country has been in turmoil. However, since 2016, through Astana process, we de-escalated the situation and basically froze the war. This precious time should have been used by the regime to reconcile with its own people. However, the regime did not use the opportunity. When all attempts failed, President Erdogan himself extended his hand to the regime to open a way to achieve national unity and peace in Syria. That was also denied. The regime failed to focus on the vital issues. State institutions couldn't function properly to respond to the needs of the Syrian people. It couldn't provide the basic services. Half of the population was displaced both internally and externally. This caused flows of migration which brought risk to the neighboring countries as well as Europe. The regime was relying on drug money to survive. As of this morning, Syria has reached a stage where the Syrian people will shape the future of their own country. Today, there is hope. The Syrian people cannot achieve this alone. The international community must support the Syrian people. Turkey attaches great importance to the national unity, stability, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Syria and the well-being of the Syrian people. Thereby, millions of Syrians who were forced to leave their homes can return to their land. The new administration must be established in an orderly manner. The principle of inclusiveness must never be compromised. There must never be a desire for revenge. It is time to unite and reconstruct the country. Today, we call on all actors in and outside the region to act with prudence and calm and to refrain from steps that could further destabilize the region. The territorial integrity and unity of Syria must be preserved. Dear friends, we have to be watchful during this transition period. We are in communication with the groups to make sure that terrorist organizations, especially Daesh and PKK, is not taking advantage of the situation. Turkey is committed to continue fight against terrorism. All the minorities, non-Muslim, Christians, non-Arabs, Kurds, should be treated equally. Any possible chemical weapons inventory or related materials must be secured. The new governing body should be inclusive of all parties. Opposition groups should be united now. State institutions should be preserved and work properly. With this understanding, we will continue to support efforts to establish stability and security in Syria. For the last week, we had intense dialogues and deliberations with regional and international actors. Yesterday was a particularly important day, especially during the Doha Forum, for the future of Syria. First, Astana countries, Turkey, Russia, Iran, came together to discuss the developments. We really appreciate the constructive approaches of Russia and Iran. UN Special Envoy for Syria was also with us. He also made enormous contribution. We welcome his efforts. Then we came together with Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iraq, Egypt, and Jordan. We also thank those brotherly countries for their constructive approaches. We had also discussions with Americans as well. We will continue cooperation with regional and international actors. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. We will have 4 questions from the floor. Reuters from Andrew from Reuters, please.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
No, I cannot say for sure.
Where do you think he is? Do you think his life will be protected, or is it all up for grabs right now?
No, I cannot comment on that. I mean, I think he's somewhere, but I cannot comment on that.
Inside Syria?
Probably outside of Syria.
Your Excellency, Andrew Mills from Reuters. I want to ask about the political process that needs to take place now to ensure that Syria goes through a stable transition. What is Turkey doing to ensure that that transition is stable, and what confidence do you have in this process?
Well, thank you. First of all, we've been, as you know, and as I stated during my statement, we've been working for the stability of Syria for a long time. We are familiar with the actors, we are familiar with the problems, and they are challenging ones. We have to work very hard. As I stated, we have to work together with Syrian people, not only Turkey, but also regional actors, the international actors, to make sure that there is a good and smooth transition period, no more harm to the civilian people, start delivering basic services for the people, and most importantly, to assure the regional countries that the new administration and new Syria will not pose a threat for its neighbors. On the contrary, the new Syria will address the existing problems, will eliminate the threats.
Let's take the second question from the other row. Victoria from AP.
Excuse me. Hello, Victoria Eastwood from Associated Press. Can I ask, did you or your government speak to Mr. Assad in his final days and hours inside the country, and what effort did he make to try and stay in power?
Well, unfortunately, as you know, I mean, especially our president for the last couple of months has been trying to reach out the Syrian regime, particularly to Mr. Assad, but it all failed. You know, we knew that something was coming, and because, as I said, we are very much familiar with the problems of Syria, and we know how much the pressure is mounting on the groups because of refugees and other issues, especially the economic ones. And the regime was slowly decaying and collapsing, and we were seeing this. Therefore, we really wanted to do something to prevent this. But to short answer, no, we didn't speak to them because no contact at all.
The third question, Melida from TRT World.
Hello, I have a little longer question. So how did a war that lasted for nearly 50 years and in just almost 15 days, and we have Israel and opposition at the same border now, so will be there any conflicts? And what will be the role of Turkey in rebuilding Syria? Thank you.
Well, thank you. First of all, you know, since the Astana process froze the war in 2016, the regime has had a precious time to address the existing problems. But we knew that up until 2016, regime was running on a high adrenaline. So they didn't care about their problems, their institutional incapacity, and the other issues. However, they could have used this precious time to address the existing problems, but they didn't. And instead, we saw a slow decay and collapse of the regime. That explains why, almost without firing one bullet, the Aleppo fell immediately and followed by the other cities. And Turkey will continue with the neighboring countries to reconstruct, and the existing administration is also very much important for us to work together in whatever capacity, in however way we can help to address their economic problems and other problems. We will certainly continue to work with the new administration.
Well, thank you, sir. And the final question is from the Turkish press, Büşra Hanım from CNN Turkey.
Mr. Minister, would you like me ask in English or Turkish? English, okay. Okay, of course. How will or should the coordination be ensured among so many groups during this process? And as well as, what is your assessment about Trump's statements? Because it was interesting. We see American officials once again emphasizing the threat of Daesh and signaling continued cooperation with another terrorist organization, YPG. So what will Ankara do to prevent the establishment of a terrorist state in Syria? And could a new operation be on the agenda at this stage, or should we expect new agreements with the new administration of U.S.? What will be the fate of the regions cleared of terrorism by Turkey and Syrian National Army? Thank you.
Well, thank you. As you know, I mean, the opposition forces are comprised of different groups, but they have a coordination mechanism among themselves. I think this mechanism will improve in the coming days because right now they have a bigger job at hand. So I hope and we wish that they can come together and they can start working in an orderly manner to have a good transition period by including all the parties inside Syria. As for your question, the terrorism part of your question, we are equally concerned about Daesh and other terrorist organizations taking advantage of this situation, the transition period. So we are watchful, mindful, to make sure that Daesh and PKK is not taking advantage of this situation. And we are in contact with our American friends. They know how sensitive we are on YPG PKK issue. They know whatever threat comes from them to Turkey, we will immediately respond and react. And I think with new incoming administration in U.S., we will have some conversations on this issue as well. As I said, no, there was no communication coming from Assad side.
Sir, before we leave, would you like to say a few words in Turkish? Well, we said that was the final question. Now the sir is going to say a few words in Turkish, and then we are going to conclude. This brings us to the end of the conference. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, yesterday I had a very constructive meeting with my meeting. Let him ask the question. Yeah. Well, there are very legitimate Kurdish parties that we work together in Syria, northern Syria, and they've been part of the wider and broader Syrian opposition for a long time. However, any PKK extension in Syria cannot be considered a legitimate partner to engage with any talks in Syria because they are filled with international terrorist fighters among their ranks, PKK cadres from Turkey, Iraq, Iran. They are non-Syrians. Non-Syrians are running the so-called SDF, and everybody knows this. This is an open secret. So, in short, no, unless they change themselves.
Would you like to say a few things in Turkish, sir?
Teşekkür ederim bu basın toplantısı için. Türkiye uzun yıllardır Suriye'nin birliği, beraberliği ve bütünlüğü için elinden geleni yapmaktadır. Özellikle son aylarda Cumhurbaşkanımızın bu yaklaşmakta olan süreci görmesinden hareketle başlattığı inisiyatifin Suriye rejimi tarafından reddedilmesi maalesef bizim endişelerimizi haklı çıkaran gelişmelerin olmasına yol açtı. Muhalifler an itibariyle Şam'ı ele geçirmiş durumdalar. Esad rejimi çökmüş durumda. Esad ülkeyi terk etmiş durumda. Biz bundan sonra Suriye'nin yaralarının sarılması için birliğinin, bütünlüğünün, güvenliğinin sağlanması için ne yapabiliriz? El birliğiyle şu anda onun mücadelesi içerisindeyiz. Dünden itibaren bölge ülkeleriyle ve uluslararası aktörlerle bu konuda çalışmaya başladık. Özellikle bölge ülkeleriyle işbirliğimiz fevkalade önemli. Irak ve Suriye uzun sınırları olan, Irak ve Türkiye, Suriye'ye uzun sınırları olan iki ülke. Bizim özellikle beraber koordinasyonumuz önemli. Yine Ürdün, Suudi Arabistan, Katar bu noktada önemli partner bizim için. Bunlarla da çalışmalarımızı devam ettireceğiz. Amerika ile de görüşmelerimiz devam ediyor. Özellikle terörizm ve güvenlik konularındaki hassasiyetlerimizi onlarla da paylaşıyoruz. Önümüzdeki günler özellikle geçiş süreci bu konuda inşallah daha güzel günlerin Suriye halkını beklediğini hep beraber göreceğiz. Cumhurbaşkanımızın bu konudaki hassasiyetini hepimiz biliyoruz. Özellikle mültecilerin tekrar ülkelerine dönmesi meselesi fevkalade önemli. Bu konuda da çalışmalara şimdiden başladık. Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you. Thank you so much.